Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning everyone. So today let's move to task 2 for wet speaking test. Today you are with me. I'm Nazlin Nazlin and I'm from Kedah Matriculation College. Okay everyone, so let's talk about task 2, the part in the wet test whereby it is the time for you to discuss in your group. So what is task 2 all about? First, you need to know task 2 is a group discussion with 4 candidates. We have candidate A, B, C, and D. And you will be given a topic with some points to discuss. You must work together in your group and you'll be given 3 minutes to prepare and between 8 to 12 minutes for you to discuss. So that is what task 2 is all about. Okay, next, let's move to what is your mission in order to fulfill task 2. So, as you know, in task 2, you were given a topic and also some points for you to discuss in your group. So, number 1, give your opinion clearly. Number 2, you need to respond to the other candidates politely and also confidently. Number 3, you need to support your opinion by having to give explanation, elaboration with some examples. And number 4, you need to work together, not to fight like you are debating who gets the last nasi lemak, right? So this is about a discussion, not a debate. All right, let's look at the question from the recorded video that you have watched. The question given is, what are the serious consequences of using social media? Points given are, number 1 is health, social life, finance, work performance, and last one is waste of time. Okay, now, you may ask question, can you use other points that is not stated from the question? The answer is yes, you can. You may also add up your own point. Okay, now, let's move on to how are you going to respond or how are you going to start your discussion. We start with the first presenter. It can be candidate A, it can be candidate B, C, or D to start first. So, in order for you to initiate the discussion, I will help you with a formula. So, for the first candidate, you need to use this formula, IP. So, I is to initiate your discussion. So, how are you going to initiate your discussion? For example, good morning again. Today, we are discussing on what are the serious consequences of using social media. So, that is how you initiate the discussion. All right, next, we move on to second one is P, which is point. You need to point out your idea clearly. Okay, let's say you're talking about physical health or mental health. So you may say, one serious consequence of using social media is poor physical and mental health, right? So you stated your point. Next, we move on to the next formula, which is E, which is explained. You need to explain and elaborate your point. For example, people stay up late scrolling and lose sleep, which causes tiredness and stress. It is because they love to scroll on their social media platform, such as TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Okay, now we move to the last part, which is example. You may say, for example, students who use TikTok until 2 a.m. in the morning, feel sleepy, and cannot focus in class. After the first candidate started, we move to the next candidate. For next candidate, you need to use this formula. Just now, you use the formula IP for the first candidate who initiate the discussion. But as for this, as the discussion goes on, you can use this formula, which is RP. So we start with respond. How are you going to respond to the first candidate or to the other candidate? First thing, you may agree or you may disagree politely. How are you going to agree? Number one, you may say, "That's a good point. I totally agree with you." Second, you may say, "I see your point and I like to add that." Okay, so that is how are you going to agree politely. Next would be, how are you going to disagree? Nicely, and please don't be rude. You may say, "I understand your view, but I have a different opinion." You may also say, "That's interesting, but perhaps we should also consider." So that is how are you going to respond to the other candidates. When you respond, meaning that you are interact with the other candidate, you have to listen to the other candidate's point so that you are able to respond to their points. Next would be point. Just the same like the previous formula, you also need to state your point. So how are you going to start a strong or how are you going to state your point clearly? You may say, "I think the most important factor is," or in this question, you may say, "I think the most serious consequence of using social media is," or you can say, "in my opinion," or "from my point of view." So you continue with your point. Next would be explain, just the same like the one that we have discussed previously in the first formula. So how are you going to explain? So there are lots of ways on how to explain. One of it would be you add why you think so. So when you stated your point, ask yourself, why is it so? So you can explain it when you ask yourself why. Other than that, you can also have a comparison. So when you compare, meaning that you can explain. Next would be example. Example may be varied. One of the examples that you may use is you come up with your own experience, or might be from your reading, or might be from the statistic that you have read somewhere. So that is how example can be used in your presentation. How much time do we need for us to conclude? It's just like only like about a minute before you stop. So don't take too long for you to conclude your discussion. You may say, "So can we agree that?" Or "It seems we all think that." Another way to say it, or let's conclude that the most serious consequence of having social media or using social media is what? Okay. Okay, there are a few tips on how to do your discussion. Okay, number one, listen actively. Don't just wait for your turn, but show you are listening by nodding, smiling, and also responding. So meaning that you are interacting with the other candidates. Okay. Number two would be polite and respectful. No interrupting or no cutting others mid-sentence. Okay, and then use polite expression. Okay, number three would be keep your tone friendly. Sound like you are having calm, intelligent chat and not to argue, right? Tip number 4 would be balance your speaking time. Don't dominate the discussion and let others speak too. So this is not speech, this is a discussion. So please let other candidates talk about their point as well. All right, tip number 5 will be work towards a group conclusion. So this we will see that you are having a teamwork, okay? So try to guide the discussion to one final answer. Okay, what are the common mistakes to avoid? Number 1 is talking too long. Remember, like I said earlier, this is a discussion, not a speech, okay? Number 2 would be reading your notes word for word. Okay, remember you need to have eye contact with the other candidates. So that means you are interacting with the other candidate. Do not look at your notes all the time. So it sounds like robotic, right? Okay, next would be you ignoring others. That shows that you have a poor teamwork. Next common mistake will be being too quiet. You didn't say anything. Please, in this discussion, try to respond and also come up with your point, like the formula that I gave earlier. If you are going to be the first one to initiate the discussion, use IP. And let's say you are the next candidate who's going to discuss and respond, use the formula RP. Okay, please say something during the discussion. Do not be quiet. This is your mark. Your mark is basically based from your speaking. Next will be using slang or very casual words. Okay, keep it polite and academic. Okay, so that is a common mistake. Okay, now let's move on to tips on how to make examiner notice your point is well elaborated. Number 1, use connectors. For example, apart from that, furthermore, besides that, however, therefore, as a result, hence. I'm sure you know how to use all these connectors, and each of these connectors will have a different function. Number 2 is sound confident. Use a clear voice and smile and make eye contact with the other candidates. So meaning that you are being interactive, okay? Next would be think smart and speak simple. Use short, clear sentences with some complex and also low frequency words. If you're able to do so, you're going to be a very good candidate. All right, and be flexible too. If someone has already said your point, don't repeat it. You may add a new reason or example for the next point. Okay, so remember 3C for a good discussion. Number 1 is clear. Speak with structure. Like we said earlier, use the structure. If you use this structure, you will be able to have a good discussion. So have a clear discussion by having to speak with structure. So this is the structure that you may use in your discussion. Number 2 would be being cooperative. You may also support others' ideas. That one is come under responding to the other candidate. And the last one would be confident. So have a calm voice and also natural tone. Okay, before we stop this session, I would like to give you advice on how are you going to use this critical hour to practice for your speaking. All right, number 1, you go through the past year questions. All right, you may also come up with your own notes, and then based on the category, Like we have a lots of themes, for example, like health, environment, people, society, sports, finance, education, and also time management. So you come out with verbs and also sample point ideas on how are you going to tackle the question. Okay, I give you an example like health. You may write down your notes on might be mental stress, eye strain, sleep problems, or you can also come up with solution on how the government can help the healthcare and come up with the list of your ideas for that particular theme or category. You may also use this tip for other theme, like for example like education and as well as sport. So when you have that question to be asked, you are able to come up with your own points. Okay, um, I think that's all for today. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best for your white speaking.